Good morning, everyone. This is the Vermont House Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. It is Thursday, February 12th, 2026 at 9:01 in the morning. So today we are starting our day with a special guest from Quebec. He is the delegate to New England, Rainey Sylvester. I think you all remember Rainey from last year. He came in and spoke with us, and he attended our tariff hearing that we had, and Rainey's here today visiting, and we thought it would be good to ask him to come in and speak with us again a year later to see what he's seeing on the Quebec side of the issues that we had. Well, I think they're shared issues. So Rainey, welcome. Thank you again for coming in.
Thank you for having me. Delighted to be here. It's really an honor for me to be in front of this committee this morning. So I can start. I have a few comments, and obviously I'll be delighted to answer your questions. The message today is, even though with all the noise in Washington, we see positive things. We have done in the last couple of months trade missions with companies. So companies are still looking to United States and especially New England. So for me, in a nutshell, it's still very positive, even though we hear a lot of things. On the ground, we work closely with our partners in New England. So it's refreshing for me to see that. So, and yesterday I was here with meetings with different stakeholders, and we're still working on projects for the next couple of months. So again, thank you. Delighted to be here. Thank you again, Chair Marcotte, Vice Chair Groening, and Ranking Member White, and all the members of this committee. It's really a pleasure to be here again this year. As a Quebec delegate to New England, I lead a small team of 10 people at the Quebec Government Office in Boston. For more than 50 years now, our office has represented Quebec throughout New England as part of Quebec's international network. Our mandate is simple and ambitious: to build bridges between Quebec and the 6 New England states, and to support partnerships in trade, innovation, research, investment, and public policy cooperation. We work across sectors that are central to Vermont's economic future: energy, semiconductors, construction, aerospace, and sustainable development, to name a few sectors. We also support cultural initiatives, so Francophone partnerships and political dialogue, because economic relationships are stronger when they rest on human relationships. And with Vermont, those relationships are run deep. Quebec connection to Vermont is historic and precious. We share more than a border. We share ancestry, language, family ties, business networks, and a rural character that shapes our economies and identities. This connection is visible every year in agro-tourism collaborations, Francophonie Month in March celebrations, the Vermont International Film Festival, and countless community exchanges. But while culture strengthens our bond, it's our economic integration that makes this relationship strategic. In 2024, I don't have the latest numbers for 2025. We should have these numbers in a few weeks. In 2024, trade between Quebec and Vermont reached approximately $2.3 billion US. So it's quite significant. In New England, you are our third largest partner, which is for the size of Vermont is pretty significant. That figure reflects a deeply integrated regional economy. Agricultural products, forest products, maple syrups, chocolate, advanced components, many goods across the border, many goods cross the border multiple times before reaching consumers. Our businesses do not operate in isolations. They operate in a shared North American production system. In the last couple of months, Quebec and Vermont have signed many agreements, but one is worth mentioning, the agreement to advance a Northeast semiconductor manufacturing corridor. A forward-looking initiative designed to position our region as a hub for advanced manufacturing and technological innovation. This is not just symbolic cooperation, it's economic strategy. It demonstrates that when we act together, we compete globally more efficiently. However, our integrated economies are facing increasing friction. Tariffs on Canadian products are driving up construction costs across the United States. And since the United States is not self-sufficient in wood products, these proposed tariffs are expected to increase the cost of important construction materials by at least $3 to $4 billion annually, nationally. According to analysis from Yale University Business Data Lab, tariffs have already increased the cost of building a home in the United States for approximately $6,000, which is significant. For Vermont, where housing affordability is already a pressing issue, these increases matter. They affect builders, they affect workforce recruitment, they affect young families trying to purchase homes. When supply chains are integrated, trade barriers function like a tax on regional growth. And let's be clear, tariffs are taxes on imported goods. They directly impact Vermont consumers and employers. Tourism is also provides another clear indication of the strain. Canadians are the single largest source of foreign visitors to the United States. In 2024 alone, Canadian visitors generated more than 20 million visits and $20 billion in spending, supporting roughly 140,000 jobs in the United States. Here in Vermont, it's also tourism is an important sector. It represents more than the Canadian visits annually, contributing to an estimated to $150 million to the state economy. Yet in 2025, Canadians travel to the United States declined by nearly 30%. We can see similar indicators with European countries where the number of visits are declining. The numbers reflect the real economic pressures. Border economies, retails, restaurants, short-term accommodation, recreation, small businesses feel this immediately. Across the country, tourism operators are responding creatively. Some jurisdictions, and I've seen some elements here in Vermont, are offering Canadian-only discounts or different initiatives. These measures signals one thing: demand is softening. Policy stances from Washington on tariffs, immigration, currency volatility, and border controls have contributed to this uncertainty. Regardless of political perspective, the economic effects are measurable and immediate, and particularly for border states like Vermont. This is precisely when subnational leadership matters most. States and provinces cannot control federal trade policy, but we can maintain stable, constructive, and predictable relationships. And in my job, in the job of my colleagues, it's exactly where we're tending to do. So continuing on different initiatives with different stakeholders. We can reaffirm partnerships. We can continue investing in cross-border initiatives. we can send clear signals to businesses that regional cooperation remains strong. Last April, when I testified before this committee and the Senate Committee on Economic Development, I encouraged us to double down on cross-border collaboration. That recommendation stands. In challenging periods, our regional bonds become strategic assets. Recent national comments towards Canada, have been difficult for many Quebecers. But in response, several U.S. legislators, including Georgia and Texas, to name a few, have passed bipartisan resolution affirming their friendships and cooperation with Quebec. We are currently in New England working with Massachusetts and Maine on similar resolutions. These resolutions matter. They are not symbolic gestures alone. They reassure investors, they reassure tourist operators, they reassure families who cross the border regularly. They reinforce the idea that our regional relationship transcends federal political cycles. This committee may wish to consider similar action, reaffirming Vermont's long-standing partnership with Quebec and its commitment to continued collaboration in trade, innovation, and tourism. Such a resolution would signal stability in a time of uncertainty. Finally, the data shows strength, but the data does not capture the human dimension of this relationship. It does not measure the families divided only by a line on a map. It does not measure the shared winter economy, the shared forest, the shared values of community and resilience. We are neighbors by geography, we are partners by economy, and we are connected by history. Vermontiers will always find a warm welcome in Quebec, and Quebec stands ready, and we have for generations to build, innovate, and prosper alongside with Vermont. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and I look forward for your questions and to continue to work together. Thank you.
Questions? Herb?
I'd like to sort of reemphasize what you said at the end about the human dimension of our relationship. And I think it's probably the same in a lot of towns, but I come from a small little rural town. If you look down through any of the lists, property tax lists, photo lists, and you understand how intertwined our two societies are by family names.
Yeah.
You can see that. It's just integrated into Quebec is integrated in our town, and so I think that's reciprocated. So I think that's really important, and that's why you've seen such strong support. One of the reasons why you've seen such strong support. Mm-hmm. And the current difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I meet on regular basis different stakeholders on both sides of the borders, and there's this willingness to continue to work on different initiatives. So again, for me, I see that very positively, and we try to encourage and support these initiatives.
So glad you're here. Thank you for coming today.
Sure.
I know that we don't have the numbers from 2025 yet, but we are expecting a significant decline in visitors from Canada to Vermont. We've seen it in our numbers. Are there creative solutions that we can do to reestablish those close ties that were lost with all of the national rhetoric?
Yeah, I would suggest, and I've seen some initiatives with the Tourist Board of the Eastern Township and also the Montérégie Tourist Board. They are talking with their counterparts in Vermont on different initiatives, and for example, in work on food events or different initiatives. And what I would say is we're going through a perfect storm. Yes, people are upset from some comments, but there's also um, at the border more questions. People are wondering if it's still safe to travel in the United States. So all these are adding up, and that's why people are so I would definitely recommend that you first continue to talk with your counterparts in Canada and Quebec to make sure that and we're doing the same, because American tourists for Canada and for Quebec are also very important. So I've been involved with some initiative to make sure that Americans are aware that they're still welcome in Quebec, and it's still a safe place and so forth. So that's number one. And again, make sure that we are aware of your events in the region, your major festivals, initiatives. These are we 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 believe that time will help the whole situation too, especially on tourism, because this is where we have seen the real impact of this situation. In other sectors, what we've seen is some decline, but since we still have the free trade agreement between the three countries, Mexico, United States, and Canada, if I look at what we have done in terms of missions in the last 12 months, it's pretty similar as what we've done before the current administration in Washington in terms of attending trade shows, companies visiting from Quebec. We haven't seen a really a steep decline. But when we look at the numbers for tourism, we really see, I mentioned 30%. It's 30% at airports, but it's 25 with similar at the border. So, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Again, more questions. We hear things in Canada on, okay, they can check your social media pages and all that. So even if it's true or not, people are thinking, yeah, cautious. Yeah.
First, I'd like to go on the record of saying I'm Quebec's #1 fan in terms of tourism, in terms of going there. But yeah, I think I'm doing my part to encourage tourism to Quebec. But I'm curious what you've seen as far as trends of Vermonters going to Quebec on vacation, or I mean, have you seen a change, or U.S. citizens coming?
I don't have specific numbers only for Vermonters, but
Yeah.
U.S. citizen, we've seen a small decline.
Not 20%.
No, depending of the different numbers, between maybe 5 and 10%. So can mean a lot of things, but yeah, but still, for us, it's a number that we are following. And maybe you saw some initiatives from the Eastern Township and other regional tourist boards on doing on the social media's advertisement and different to make sure that Americans are welcome in Quebec. And quite frankly, we follow anything that would happen. We try to understand, okay, is it just an anecdote, or it's really a part of a trend? But yeah. But in terms of commerce, I mean, we continue to, like I said, we organize trade missions. We attended, some of my colleagues, there's a manufacturing event in Vermont. We try to bring companies there. There are events coming in Quebec that might be of interest to some of your companies, and we make sure that we publicize these events. So yeah, so we continue on that trend to make sure that companies and different associations work together.
We're seeing too, I know, our agency of commerce and Tim Tierney has been, last summer, we had a number of politicians and businesses come down to Newport.
Yeah.
It's right on Memphremagog, and had some good discussions there. You know, I was speaking with someone from the University of Sherbrooke about, they have a process, they had the GAN process for chips that Global Foundries has, and UVM, and I had kind of talked to UVM also to reach out to the University of Sherbrooke to see if there could be a partnership there.
Absolutely. It's almost a public knowledge, but yesterday I had a meeting with Tim, and we discussed different initiatives in the next couple of months to see if we can repeat this initiative of last year, and see how we can work, you know, the Freeport and Sherbrooke corridor, and also in this part as well, Burlington and Quebec as well, on semiconductor, but also in other sectors, aerospace. There's an event in Montreal in aerospace, and Vermont will have representatives, companies there, and we'll work with Tim and his team to make sure that we have B2B meetings with companies from Quebec. So yeah.
You know, we're seeing, especially on the border in Newport and Derby Line, and even all the way down to St. Johnsbury, we're seeing a big decline in Canadian visitors. You know, our restaurants have really taken a hit. Same with JP, because the area, and then also Kingdom Trails, the bike trails in Burke, have seen a decline in
Do
Canadian.
you have numbers, or do you have?
I don't have specific numbers, but I'm hearing 30 to 35%.
Okay.
So it's significant for us. And I know there's some Americans that are apprehensive about crossing the border. Whether, I don't think so much the Canadian border, but coming back, is how much problems can we have coming back? When I go up, I generally have no problems, but.
Me neither. So far, it's been like as usual, but I heard stories, and you try to see if it's part of a trend or it's only one person. But yeah.
I think, you know, we keep communicating with each other, make sure that our lines of communication are open. We're still friends. We're still family. So.
And you know, one of the initiatives we've done in the last couple of months is, as you may know, the border is a federal jurisdiction, but the Sûreté du Québec, so our provincial police, met with officials here in Vermont to compare notes and see, okay, what's going on? Is there anything we can do to work together to make sure that the border is safe, and because what we want is a safe border for trade and people, that there's no real friction, so that's is as smooth as possible, because it's part of the success of what we've done in the last couple of decades is trade is integrated between the two regions. So
yeah, very important.
anyway, we're here to support you, so feel free to reach out if you see anything, hear anything, and you think that we can be going to support. I'll be delighted to come back and also work with you on different initiatives. For us, the next activities are in March for the Francophonie Month. We have events in Burlington and also in other locations in Vermont. And also this summer, we're working on initiatives as well. So
I think we'd like to work with you on a resolution, as you suggested. I think that was a great idea that I think we as a committee can work on with you. And put something together that,
I can send you example that would have been done in across the United States. And the whole idea is we will National Assembly in Quebec do a similar resolution in the next couple of weeks, months. As you may be aware, we will have an election in Quebec in October. So we try to do that before. Also a major event, as you may know, there's the New England governors and Canadian premiers. The next meeting will take place in Vermont. I don't know the date yet, but it's I was in St. John, Newfoundland a couple weeks ago. It was end of November. Yeah. And Governor Scott was there, and yeah, these events and gatherings are also important. And if I can say, this one in St. John was very positive. I mean, people were ready to work together on different initiatives, and again, it was refreshing to see people from both countries working together, different initiatives. So.
else for Rainey? Rainey, thank you for your time this morning. It's good to see you again. Look forward to working with you again on that resolution, and I'm sure that's something that we can put together and get through pretty easily.
Thank you. Thank you again. It's been a real honor to be here, and thank you for allowing me to talk in front of you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Merci.
So our next, we're looking at the DFR budget at 10 o'clock. So